You've said that you feel a moral obligation to fight this thing.
I do, because now I know all of these people. I mean, I get phone calls all day long. I'm sure you do too.
Yeah.
I'm up
And I'm
until
like,
3, 4 o'clock trying to, comfort a parent to not take their life because
Yeah.
they just don't find a way out of this.
Yeah.
And so I say, well, my daughter would be upset if she knew I was talking. This is why I'm not mentioning anything to identify her.
Right.
But I feel a moral obligation that I have to say what I know
Yeah.
about this, because I know of all these other parents. Someone has to speak up for them and for their children
Yeah.
who have no voice.
And you talked about the people calling you because they're on the verge of committing suicide. And this is a question I would like to ask our legislature, our governor, our attorney general, every single divorce attorney. How many suicides is enough for you? How many people do you want to see commit suicide before you say, oh, you know what, maybe the system is broken? And you know what they do when these people that commit suicide, they have a mourning for them. None of them will ever admit they were at fault. They were at fault for this going on.
In fact, they brainwash the children because they keep the children away from the parents.
Right.
The targeted parent.
Right.
And then when they do commit suicide, they say, well, we told you there was something wrong with your dad or your mom.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
I talked with a counselor the other day, great family counselor, and I said, here's a situation that's going on. And one of the things he said to me, he said, Jeff, in the family as it is right now, you have no advocate. Mm-hmm. He said, the stuff that happened obviously was plainly wrong. He actually commended me for the efforts that we're making to change laws here.
Right.
But he said, you have no advocate, and that will never change. So as far as approaching relationship with your children, it's kind of like you have very thin ice.
Right.
It's not like the ice is frozen, you can walk on it. It's very thin ice. If you put too much weight on it at all, the ice is going to break and you're going to fall in.
Right.
And that's because of what you just talked about. The people that cause the problems blame the other person. And then, like you said, in the situations where somebody commits suicide, well, we told you he was mentally unstable. We told you she was mentally unstable. They will never say, we caused this.
They're heartless.
Yeah.
Because some of these parents, and again, this is happening to fathers and mothers.
Right,
It used to happen more to fathers in the past, but I think since the women enter the workforce, now it doesn't really matter.
It's happening to women as well, absolutely.
It's happening probably more to women now. But it's just,
and here's something else.
They're not gentle bias.
It's happening to children.
It's happening to children.
And nobody talks about that. Now we talk about the school shootings and all of these things that, how tragic this is.
Most of them have had a parent missing in their life, and they're angry. Angry children.
And here's the other thing. If you look at the number of people, and I'm not trying to downplay the school shooting. I'm not in the least. But if you look at the number of kids that are killed in the school shootings, it's because it happens all at one time in a dramatic way that the news media talks about it. Everybody has to be up in arms about that. More children than that commit suicide over broken families. But because it's not a big, wide open event, publicized event, and it happens all at one time, we're not going to talk about it. We'll say, oh, it's so sad. But we won't fix the problem that causes these kids and these parents to commit the suicide.
That's the part that makes me want to go along and have these interviews, because I've refused them before in the past. But I thought, I've got to speak out for these kids.
Yeah. And for the parents, and for your daughter.
And for the parents, yes. I am in it because of my daughter and my granddaughter.
Right.
This is how I even found out about this.
Yeah.
But these poor children, the ACE factor, that they...
Adverse childhood experiences,
Right. It's just horrible, the trauma they go through. And we as adults can go on the internet and search for resources and how to help ourselves. And, but these children, especially the really young ones, what do they do to help themselves when they cannot even vocalize what they're feeling? The trauma that they're feeling. I, as an adult and as a grandmother, I felt like from the initial time that I knew something was wrong, which was on a vacation that we took with my daughter, hoping that he would come with us, but oddly enough, just 1 or 2 days before any vacation, he had something to do.
Yeah.
So he had a different agenda, obviously.
Yeah.
But
Sweetie pie.
yes,
I'm sorry.
And that's when I noticed my daughter's phone tingling all the time. She was away from the phone, and I kept running to her to see who keeps texting her.
Yeah.
And it's the same message over and over again: loser, 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 and then HA, several lines of HA.
Yeah, I know.
I thought some crazy person is contacting you. Who is it? She didn't want to tell me. She says, "Mom, it's her ex." I thought, what happened? I mean, it sounds crazy. I mean,
know.
who would write that over and over again and keep
Yeah.
sending the same message?
Yeah.
But anyway, and then she had to speak up. And then we just sat down with her and said, "What's going on?" And I forgot the point I was.
Well,
but the children,
the children.
don't have a way out of this. I felt from the moment on, I felt like I was going to jump out of my skin. I was
Yeah.
just so traumatized
Yeah.
from the little bit that I knew
Yeah.
in the very beginning. And then as I went down there and stayed with her several months, 3 months at a time,
Yeah.
and saw these things. I saw all of this with my own eyes because I was with her
Yeah.
24/7.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my goodness,
Yeah. It was abuse.
yes. I mean, abuse,
And it
legal
was abuse. Yeah, it was legal abuse. It was all sorts of abuse. And the state,
yes.
even though they won't admit it, they're 100% behind it because these are the laws that they
Well, they
have
are.
passed to enable this
Well, they
without
are.
punishment.
Yes, and, it's when I started being more observant because, like I
Yeah.
said in the beginning, I thought, wow, that's their culture. They speak differently. They say, because there are things that I would hear or see that I thought I wouldn't talk to my child like that,
I know,
even if it was a
exactly.
joke.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to go into
yeah.
those details
Yeah.
just for my granddaughter's sake because it's kind of hurtful.
Yeah, yeah.
But so I just kind of dismissed it, but then I couldn't dismiss it anymore, and I lose my train of thought. But yes, I was there to observe these things, and it was just too obvious, and the children are the ones that suffer the most.